Alrighty, guys, it's Tuesday, May 2nd, 2023, and this is my Major League Baseball free pick video here today. Now, real quick, I'm now 10-3 in my last 13 NBA tier package bets on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage. And I'll explain the difference between what I do on my website and what I do right here on YouTube in just a moment. Now, if you wish you could have been accessing those winners I just mentioned, your best bet is to join my full access, all-inclusive chairman package on that website. Chairman members get full access to every single personal play of mine, every single package, every single day for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus, you also get access to my chairman podcast every single day as well. Now, you may be wondering what the difference is between what I do here on YouTube and what I do on my website. Well, what I do here on YouTube is I'll handicap the entire slate of games in any given sport, side and total. And what I do on my website is I actually share with you which one of these free plays on these videos that I'm actually betting on personally. I'm once again 10-3 in my last 13 NBA tier package bets on that site. And the NBA package is a membership that I offer on patreon.com/BrockPage. And if you sign up for that membership here today, you're going to get access to that package for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus, you're also going to get access to all of my cheaper memberships absolutely free. They're going to be included with your purchase. And with that, guys, let's go ahead and dive into some free content. We're going to start off with the Braves at the Marlins, 6:40 p.m. East. Miami's minus 135, total 7.5. Sandy Alcantara for the Fish, Bryce Elder for Atlanta. Now, Elder's 2-0 with an ERA of 2.17. This Atlanta pitching staff's giving up fewer runs a game on the road than any other franchise in baseball. They're facing a Miami club who's a bottom three run producing team. And even if they get on base, Sandy Alcantara hasn't been the same this year. He's got a losing record and an ERA in the fives. Now, injury-wise, Joey Wendell's still out for the Fish. And when it comes to the total, Miami's 13-3 to the under in Marlins Park. Meanwhile, Atlanta's gone 60% to the under in their road trips. Give me the Braves plus $1.15, under 7.5. Next game, Mets Tigers, 6:40 Eastern start time. New York's minus 155, totals 8.5. Joey Lucchesi for New York, Michael Lorenzen for Detroit. Now, Lorenzen's winless on the season with an ERA in the sevens. Now, as a team, the Tigers lost 7 out of their last 10, and they're dead last in run production. They're facing Joey Lucchesi, who's got an ERA in the low twos, along with a 1.05 whip. The Mets are also a top 10 run-producing team on the road. Brandon Nimmo's hitting a team-best .320. Meanwhile, Pete Alonso's the league leader in home runs. When it comes to the injury report, LaCastro is still out for New York. Meadows inactive for Detroit. When it comes to the total, Detroit's 7-5 to the over at Comerica Park. Meanwhile, New York saw 3 out of their last 4 away from Flushing get over the number themselves. Give me the New York Mets minus 155, over 8.5. Next game, Pirates Rays, 6:40 East. This game's currently off the board. Javi Guerra for Tampa Bay, Ronzi Contreras for Pittsburgh. Now, Ronzi's 3-1 on the year with a 3.58 ERA. This Pittsburgh pitching staff's also allowing fewer runs a game on the road than any other club except for Atlanta. Now, offensively, this is a top 3 run-producing team while traveling. Brian Reynolds is hitting a team-best .320 with 23 RBI. Meanwhile, Jack Sawinski leads the roster in home runs. They're facing a Rays club on the other side who lost 3 out of their last 6. And they got shut out twice during that stretch. Starting pitcher Javi Guerra, he's also walked 9 batters in just 8+ innings. He's currently got himself an ERA of 8.64. Give me Pittsburgh getting the job done for some money line cash. Next game, Cubs Nationals, 7:05 East. Chicago's minus $1.40, totals 9. Hayden Wesneski for Chicago, Trevor Williams for Washington. Now, Williams has just 1 win on this season with an ERA in the 4s. And out of 15 contests at Nationals Park, Washington got the W only 3 times. They're facing a Cubs lineup who leads the majors in road hits per game. Nico Horner's hitting a team-high 323. Meanwhile, Patrick Wisdom's third in the bigs in home runs. And no real surprise here, guys. The Cubs are scoring more runs a game on the road than any other franchise except for one. Now, injury-wise, Yan Gomes is questionable for the Cubs. Dickerson, Vargas, Kieboom, and Pineda are still out for Washington. When it comes to the total, 6 out of Washington's last 10 meetings with Chicago did get over the number. So if you're into historical trends, plenty of overs to go around. Give me the Cubs minus 140, over 9. Next matchup, it is going to be Guardians, Yankees, 705 East. New York's minus 165, total 7. Garrett Cole for New York, Tanner Bybee for Cleveland. Now, Bybee struck out 8 batters in 5 2/3 innings pitched. The righties officially got an ERA of 159. I know it's a short body of work, but, he's doing the best out of what he's been given. Now, this Cleveland lineup, they've also been very selective at the dish. They walk a lot at the plate, and they're striking out fewer times a game than any other club except for one. Jose Ramirez is leading the club in RBI and batting average. Cleveland's facing a Yankee club who's on a 4-game skid, and they also took the loss in 7 out of their last 9. And in those losses, the Bombers averaged only 1.4 runs a game. When it comes to cashing in on the run line, the Yankees are just 7-10 against the number in the Bronx. Now, injury-wise, Donaldson, Stanton, Judge, and Bader, they're all still out for New York. When it comes to the total, the Pinstripers are 13-4 to the under at Yankee Stadium. Meanwhile, Cleveland's 10-7 to the under in their travels. Give me Cleveland plus 1.5, under 7. Next game, Twins, White Sox, 7:10 Eastern start time. Minnesota's minus 165, totals 9. Joe Ryan for Minnesota, Michael Kopech for Chicago. Now, Kopech's 0-3 with an ERA in the 7s. These White Sox pitchers are also allowing over 7.5 runs a game at home in nearly 11 hits per contest at Guaranteed Rate Field. Now, they're facing a Twins team who won 6 out of their last 8, and they averaged just about 6 runs a game during that stretch. Byron Buxton leads the team in homers. Trevor Larnach has 18 RBI. The Twins also have Joe Ryan on the bump, who's 5-0 with an ERA in the 2s. Ryan's also fanned 36 batters in just 32 innings. And he also has a .81 whip. Now, when it comes to the injury report, Farmer and Kirilloff are still out for Minnesota. Alberto, Anderson, and Moncada are still out for Chicago. When it comes to the number, the Sox have gone 9-3 to the over in the South Side. Meanwhile, Minnesota went 60% to the over in their last 10. Give me the Twins minus 165, over 9. Next game, Blue Jays, Red Sox, 7:10 Eastern start time. Toronto's minus 140, totals 9.5. Yusei Kikuchi for Toronto, Tanner Houck for Boston. The Houck's 3-1 on the year and averages just about a strikeout an inning. And the Bo Sox have also got themselves a top 3 run-producing lineup. Alex Verdugo's hitting .311 at the plate. Rafi Devers is in the top 5 in homers and runs batted in. And even if the bats go cold, this Jays pitching staff's in the top 3 in strikeouts. Yusei Kikuchi's got 28 strikeouts on the year, along with a 1.11 whip. He's also perfect 4-0 with an ERA of 3 flat. When it comes to the injury report, Springer's questionable for the Jays. Duvall, Story, and Chang are still out. When it comes to the scoring, Boston went 11-6 to the over at Fenway. They're also 20-10 to the over for the entire season. Give me Boston plus 1.5, over 9.5 runs. Next game, O's, Royals, 7:40 p.m. East. Baltimore's minus $1.50, totals 9. Tyler Wells for Toronto. Ryan Yarbrough for Kansas City. Now, Yarbs is 0-3 with an ERA in the 6s. And even if Yarbrough pitches well here today, the Royals can't hit for shit. They're dead last in home hits per game, and they're scoring a league-low 2.4 runs a game in their own stadium. They're going to have to face Tyler Wells, who's got a .279 ERA and a .72 whip. The O's are also in the top 5 in the American League in run production. Austin Hayes is hitting a team-best .312 at the dish. Meanwhile, Ryan Mountcastle is the club leader in RBI. Now, injury-wise, Drew Waters is still on the IL for Kansas City. When it comes to the total, the Royals are 8-5 to the over as the home team. Meanwhile, Baltimore's gone 67% to the over in their road trips. Give me the O's minus 150, over 9. Next contest, it is going to be Angels at the Cardinals, 7:45 Eastern first pitch. St. Louis is minus $1.25 at home, totals 9. Steven Matz for St. Louis, Patty Sandoval for Los Angeles. Now, Patty's got a couple of wins on this season with an ERA in the low 3s. This Angels team also has a top 5 scoring lineup in the American League. Mike Trout's hitting .308 with 7 homers and an OPS close to 1,000. Meanwhile, Shohei Ohtani and Hunter Renfroe, they have 7 home runs respectively. Now they're facing Steven Matz on the mound for St. Louis, and unfortunately he's a winless 0-3 with an ERA in the 6s. Now this Cardinal pitching staff is also allowing double-digit hits a game at Busch Stadium. Now injury-wise, Stassi, Walsh, and O'Hop, they're all still banged up for the Angels. And total-wise, 5 out of Los Angeles' last 9 did get over the line. Meanwhile, St. Louis is 62% to the over as the home team. Give the Angels plus 105, over 9. Next contest I have for you, it is going to be D-backs at the Rangers, 8:05 Eastern first pitch. Arizona's minus $1.45, total 7.5. Zach Gallen for Arizona, John Gray for Texas. Now, Johnny Gray's got an ERA in the 3s. This Ranger lineup is also scoring more runs a game than any other club besides Tampa. Jonah Heim's hitting a team-best .303 at the plate. He's also in the top 10 in runs batted in. And speaking of ribbies, Adolis Garcia is the league leader with 30 of them. And even though Zach Gallen's been great for Arizona, if for some reason the Rangers can get to their bullpen, it definitely could mean trouble for D-backs bettors. Arizona's currently in the bottom 5 in walks allowed per game. They're also in the bottom 3 in strikeouts per game on the road. Now, injury-wise, Kelly and Lewis are still out. Corbin Carroll is questionable. Meanwhile, for Texas, Seager and Garver are still out for them. When it comes to the total on this one, Texas has gone 67% to the over as the home team. They're also 18-9 to the over for the entire season. Give me the Rangers plus 1.5, over 7.5 runs. Next ball game, it is going to be Giants at the Astros, 8:10 Eastern start time. Houston's minus 175, totals 8. Hunter Brown for Houston, Anthony DeSclafani for San Francisco. And even though Anthony's been good, the Giants do have a tough time getting the W away from San Francisco. They're just 4-10 in their road games this year. They're striking out more times a game than any other club in the majors right now. Now, of course, they're facing Hunter Brown on the other side of things, who's 3-0 in the season with 32 strikeouts himself. Now, Brown's also got himself an ERA in the low 3s along with a 105 whip. Now, this Houston pitching staff as a whole, they're allowing only 3.7 runs a game. When it comes to the injury report, Brantley, Altuve, and McCormick are still out for Houston. Crawford, Ruff, Yastrzemski, and Johnson still out for San Francisco. When it comes to the total, San Fran 7-2 to the over in their interleague road games. Meanwhile, Houston's gone 11-6 to the over at Minute Maid Park. Give me the Astros minus 175, over 8. Next contest, it is going to be Brewers at the Rockies, 8:40 Eastern start time. Milwaukee's minus $1.65, totals 11. Freddie Peralta for Milwaukee, Ryan Feltner for Colorado. Now, Felty's got a .468 ERA and a 1.48 whip. This Colorado pitching staff also gives up a league-worst 11.7 hits a game on their home field. They're going to have to slow down Rowdy Tellez, who has 8 home runs and 20 RBI for the Brewers. Meanwhile, Brian Anderson's in the top 25 in RBI himself. And even if Milwaukee struggles at the dish here today, they have Freddie Peralta on the mound, and he's definitely been solid this year. Freddie's got he's got 3 wins on the season with an ERA in the 3s. Freddie's also fanned 31 batters in just 28-plus innings of work. He's got himself a 1.19 whip. Now, injury-wise, Urias, Taylor, and Mitchell are still out for the Brewers. Rogers still out for Colorado. When it comes to the total, the Rockies are 7-5 to the over at Coors Field. They also saw 7 out of their last 10 meetings with Milwaukee get over the number. So if you're into historical trends, plenty of overs to go around. The Brewers averaged nearly 6.5 runs a game in those 10 head-to-head meetings. Give me the Brewers minus 165 over 11. Next contest I have for you, it is going to be Reds at the Padres, 9:40 Eastern start time. San Diego is the $2 favorite, totals 8.5. Michael Wacha for San Diego, Graham Ashcraft for Cincinnati. Now, Ashcraft's got an ERA in the low 2s, and he's yet to lose a game this season. The Cincy pitching staff also strikes out a league-high 10.5 batters a game on the road. They're facing a San Diego lineup who's actually in the bottom 5 in the National League in hits per game. And even if for some reason the bats do come around here today, the Pods don't have the best starter on the bump here today. Michael Wacha's got himself an ERA in the high 6s right now, along with a 1.58 whip. Now, injury-wise, Dahl, Engel, and Campusano are still out for San Diego. Meanwhile, for Cincy, Votto and Myers still out for them. When it comes to the number, 3 out of Ashcraft's last 5 starts for Cincy did fall under the total. They're also 6-5 to the under when they bat first. Now, San Diego, they went 60% to the under in their last 10 themselves. Give me the Reds plus 1.5, under 8.5. Next contest, it is going to be Mariners at the A's, 9:40 p.m. East. Seattle's minus $140, totals 8 runs. No confirmed starter yet for Seattle. Mason Miller for Oakland. Now, Miller's got an ERA in the 6s after just 8+ innings of work. The A's also have the worst record in baseball. Their pitching staff's allowing 8.1 runs per game. Now, they're going to have to slow down Jared Kelenic, who's hitting .308 at the dish. Cal Raleigh, he also has a handful of homers and leads the club in runs batted in. And in these teams' last 10 head-to-head meetings, the Seattle pitching staff held Oakland to just 3.5 runs a game. Now, injury-wise, Trammell's still questionable. Julio Rodriguez also has a sore back. Meanwhile, for Oakland, Diaz and Brown are questionable for them. When it comes to the scoring, the A's averaged just 3.5 runs a game in their last 10 meetings with Seattle. I think I already said that. And no real surprise, 6 out of those 10 meetings fell under the number. Meanwhile, Seattle saw 4 out of their last 6 road games stay under the total themselves. Give me the Mariners minus 140, under 8. And with that, guys, we're going to jump into our next and final matchup for the video. It's going to be in the Phils-Dodgers game, 10:10 Eastern start time. The LA Dodgers are minus 155, totals 8 runs. Julio Urias for Los Angeles, Matt Strahm for Philadelphia. And as good as Stram's been, the Phils have struggled offensively on the road. They're in the bottom 10 in road scoring. They're also averaging nearly double-digit strikeouts a game at the dish. They're facing Julio Urias, who's punched out 35 batters in just 32+ innings. The Dodgers are also in the top 5 in the National League in run production. Freddie Freeman's hitting .305 at the dish. Meanwhile, Max Muncy's got a league-best 11 home runs. Now, injury-wise, Martinez is still questionable for L.A. Bryce Harper expected back for Philly. When it comes to the total, LA's 8-2 to the over in their last 10. They also saw 7 out of their last 10 meetings with Philadelphia get over the line. Give me the Dodgers minus 155, over 8. And with that, guys, we're going to go ahead and jump into our quick pick recap. Give me the Atlanta Braves plus $1.15, under 7.5. New York Mets minus 155, over 8.5 runs. Give me the Pittsburgh Pirates getting the job done for some money line cash. Chicago Cubs minus 140, over 9 runs. I'm 10-3 in my last 13 NBA tier package bets on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage. The good news is we have another NBA tier package bet going off here today. Give me Cleveland plus 1.5, under 7. Minnesota minus 165, over 9. Boston plus 1.5, over 9.5 runs. Baltimore minus 150, over 9. LA Angels plus 105, over 9 runs. Texas plus 1.5 over 7.5. Houston minus 175 over 8. Milwaukee minus 165 over 11. Cincinnati plus 1.5 under 8.5 runs. Seattle minus $1.40 under 8. With my next and final free pick for the video, give me the Dodgers minus 155 over 8 runs.